Thank you very much for your patience. Council had some other important issues to deal with in camera. We're now back in the regular session of council on October 16th at 3 o'clock. We're on item number 3, meetings upcoming outside the territory. So I've been invited to go to the Indigenomics gathering tomorrow. Even there's a gala at in Toronto. I would need a motion to attend that.
I'll motion that, Chief.
Moved by Ogwari and seconded by Chris. Okay, there's a motion. I've been invited by the Bank of Montreal to go to Indigenomics gathering tomorrow and a gala in Toronto tomorrow night, so I said I would go. And so it's been moved by Aguari and seconded by Chris Brandt. Is anybody opposed?
Shelley just said, wait a second. She said there was some more.
Yes.
You have the chief secretary to follow assembly on November 19th to the 21st.
Yes, somewhere that.
You have AI governance gathering on November 26th and 27th. You have the assembly for station special chief assembly on December 3rd to the 6th.
Yeah, and these are already approved, right?
No, not one
We
of
can
them.
do them all together.
Oh, okay, because they're in my calendar. So, okay, then we need a motion to approve all those dates. I thought Charlie had done it. It's moved by Aguari and seconded by Chris Brandt. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion's carried.
Okay, so there's a thing that needs to be changed.
Okay.
Because we have regular council on,
The 6th and the 20th and the 4th.
6th and
the
20th
6th, the 20th, and December 4th, all have to be changed.
Right.
And then we have local business on November 27th that will need to be changed.
Well, can we leave the local business on the 27th and then?
So the first one,
good with
that's. So the first one, the first meeting was what? November the 6th? Let's deal with that one.
Can we do the 5th?
That's the I said regional. We could do the. That's the we could do it on the. We could do it on the 8th. Is council available on the 8th for the regular?
That's a Friday?
Friday, yeah.
Friday?
Yeah, I can be here.
November?
Is there anybody who's not available on November the 8th?
I think I'm good too. Nope, I'm good.
Okay, so November, Eric Curtis, you're good for November the Friday, November the 8th will be the one, instead of the 6th, it'll be the 8th.
It's regular, right?
The next one, Shelley?
Can we do that one on the Friday as well? The
Let's see here.
22nd?
This one, that meeting's in Thunder Bay, so you're gonna need a travel day there and a travel day back.
Okay.
What about the Monday?
The 18th, I can do the Monday.
Oh, that'd be a travel day.
Oh.
Yeah, the 18th will be a travel.
The whole week's basically shot.
Yeah.
Oh. So the next week?
What's wrong with this phone?
Yeah, we can move to the next week.
This phone.
I'm good the 25th or the 26th.
The 26th and 27th is the governance, data governance
So 25th?
training on the 26th and 27th in Toronto.
Oh, if we make it a nice short meeting, should be okay.
Could do it for the 20
5th?
or 4th, 24th maybe.
24th Sunday.
22nd, was that good for council?
No, you're gone all week. Oh, you're sending invitations.
Actually, we could probably do the 21st, the 22nd, because usually the meetings are over with early afternoon. I would catch the early flight anyway.
From Thunder Bay?
From Thunder Bay.
And then
Chief?
come to Toronto and drive home from the airport. I could do that. We could do the 22nd.
I think it's only a 2-hour flight.
From Thunder Bay? No, no.
Oh,
No,
Three.
the meetings are usually over with around noon or shortly after. I would catch the first flight back to Toronto
So
and
you
then
could be
drive
here
home.
for the next day.
Well, of course, then we don't know what kind of weather we'll have either.
In
But
November?
tentatively the 22nd then?
Yep.
Shelley will send you an invite so you don't have to change it on your phone.
Okay. The 22nd is good. And what's the next one?
December 4th.
Let's leave that one for now and see if we have anyone.
So the next is December 4th.
That's the Assembly, Special
AFN.
Chiefs.
I'm good the Monday of that.
That's
Oh,
Hisab.
yeah,
Hisab's
Monday's
that date.
The 2nd? December 2nd?
The 2nd will work, but that meeting's in London, so the 2nd
Says
in the
it's in
morning.
Ottawa.
Says Ottawa.
December 3rd to 6th in Ottawa
that's Ottawa.
for the AFN.
So the 2nd or the 6th?
2nd.
2nd then?
Yep.
Okay. Those are the dates. And local business? Okay. All right, so the mover to reschedule those dates. Who will move? Aguari, who will second it?
I'll second.
Aaron, anybody opposed? Seeing none, those are the dates. Motion carried.
We can skip item 4 on the agenda, Chief.
Todd has provided an update on this, on the issue with this.
Yeah, I was the
Speed
one
limits on
that put
York
it up.
Road.
I was the one that put it up. I said we can defer it.
So what's the update then? When I guess
We're
I
just gonna defer that one, Chief.
motion to defer then?
Yep.
Motion.
Aaron and Ogari. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion's carried. The Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board year-end report. There,
Well, that would be pamphlets.
Mhm.
Do you just want
motion to acknowledge receipt of it.
I'll motion.
I'll second, Chief.
Aaron and Curtis, anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. The business registration for the Sagayana,
Sagayana. There we are.
Chris declares a conflict.
Sagayane.
I'll make a motion, Chief.
I'll second, Chief.
Curtis and Awari. Anybody opposed?
No, but Chris, did you want to declare conflict?
Yeah, I
Just
have
for the
to-
minutes?
I have to, yeah, for this.
Is Chris Miracle joining us online? Okay. Okay, motion is carried. The business registration renewal for Down for Life Productions. The owner is Corey Lloyd. It's a consulting web design, photography, media production, environmental for fire protection, not required as per policy. Insurance not required for this business registration purposes. Motion to approve.
I will motion.
Aaron and
I'll second it.
and Chris Brandt. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. The business registration renewal for Reflective Healing Solutions. The owner is Lacey King. It's a counseling support service for healing. Environmental and fire protection insurance is not required as per policy, and there's insurance on file. Is there a motion to approve this?
All motion.
Aaron, is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Chris Brandt. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Sign these afterwards. There's a harvesting request for Adam and AJ Contois.
I'll,
Okay, just to, do you know what they want to hunt in the Charbet Lake area from November 16th, 19th to the 26th. A copy of their status card and a copy of their PAL possession is on file. I want to gather because it's cut off here. They contacted MBQ for requested permission, and they're members of the Beausoleil First Nation and in the Williams Treaty area. And they intend to hunt bear, elk, deer, moose, rabbit, squirrel, and partridge, grouse, and fish for bass, walleye, perch, and pike in the Charbet Lake area. And Chris Brandt's moving.
I'll second, Chief.
The only red flag I would raise with this here is that the Algonquins have claimed that territory. The Haudenosaunee believe there's overlap, but the Algonquins are on with the land claim being accepted and negotiated. The Crown recognizes that this is their land, and normally the policy is that they would go to the Algonquins of Pikwakanagan and not us, because we do not have any kind of line on the map to establish our traditional territory. I did bring it up at Iroquois Caucus in London, and some of the elders says we don't want to draw a line on the map because it divides the people. So other First Nations are doing that, and so how do we deal with this?
Well, it falls under the 1701, doesn't it?
But I do believe that there is an overlap there based on our traditional use of that territory. But again, we should be talking to the government about it, but you can't seem to get any consensus on establishing where our traditional territory is.
the M&R says that that's Gananoque North, right?
Well, there's a small strip of,
Gananoque North is up to the 7th.
yeah, because the 1701 treaty does not cover this area. Other than it covers 400 by 800 miles, and that's pretty much in the southwestern Ontario. And I think Scarborough was the eastern line, according to that case that was at the Presqu'île hunting charges against three of our members. The Paul Gonzalez was the prosecutor for the province. And they went to the Public Records Office in England and got a copy of the 1701 treaty and determined that the southern boundary was the Scarborough line. But according to Catherine Gibson's research, our people did use the area on the north shore of Lake Ontario. But again, where is that? There's different historical records in that report.
But I wonder if these two had asked the Algonquins for a letter of permission.
Okay.
And I know that the Algonquin will not give out a letter for any resident animals, like such as deer and the moose and elk, whatever, but they will give out migratory. So they will give out letters of permission to hunt geese and ducks because they're not native to that particular land. And we cannot get permission to hunt the parks, Algonquin Park, because they just won't give us letters.
So is it the same thing happened with, and I don't know, because right now, most First Nations will set limits on how much you can take. It isn't just take all you want. And a lot of our people don't want to hunt and fish that way. And as a result, when we write to Pikwakanagan, they don't give out letters of permission. So this came up at Iroquois caucus table. I think they had denied letters of permission to go there. And so I don't know how the caucus is dealing with that, but there's a hunting and fishing group there. I think you're on that, Chris.
With personalized nudges from TV.
What?
Who was that, Chris?
Oh, sorry, Jake, my TV came on.
Oh, it was a TV.
Okay.
So
So that's what's happened. So we have to sort that out with I know we had a meeting some years ago with Chief White Duck when he was the chief, but their chief has since been declining requests. I think what happened was there was a group of hunting party from one of the other Mohawk reserves that sort of just went in there and pushed their weight around and said it's our right and we're going to take as much as we want. And there was some kind of trouble over it. I don't know exactly the details, but this is what I've heard.
and that's all on Algonquin land.
Well, again, when they filed their claim, I did put the government, both governments on notice by letter that we believe that there was an overlapping interest of our people because our people have traditionally hunted and fished and gathered there. I've gone there to pick blueberries. In those when we'd have picnics in the summer, we'd go there and pick blueberries. And I know other people have gone there to hunt and fish.
So their request to us is,
Is invalid. So you're saying it's invalid, the request of us?
Well, I'm just telling you, you go ahead and if you want to approve it, because we do, from Catherine Gibson's research, we know that our people did use that. But again, I'm just saying it may create an issue with the Algonquin First Nation because they're going to say this is our territory, not yours.
But doesn't that area fall under like the Treaty of Montreal or whatever, that one from 1701 called the...
Well,
One dish, one spoon?
well, actually, what happened in 1701, they concluded a treaty because the a hunting party had been put. A Haudenosaunee hunting party got pushed south of the lake by the Mississauga and others Ojibwe people. And then the Mississaugas came to the Credit River in 1695. They were originally up around Georgian Bay and north of Lake Superior. They do acknowledge this, by the way, and it's historical fact. Then they started asserting that. Then the Mississaugas entered into Treaty 13 to surrender a lot of that land, and also the 1768 Crawford Purchase here, which was all of this area here, including where our reserve is, was part of the Crawford Purchase. And so they're using that after post 1695 to say it is their traditional land, but it wasn't. They were not always traditionally here. They were north of Georgian Bay and north of Lake Superior. So there was the Haudenosaunee people were gearing up to have another war to take back their traditional territory, and Toronto comes from the Mohawk word the Rondo, which means there's trees in the water, and it has a Mohawk name because Mohawk people will use that area.
Okay, we're getting back to this.
So anyways, to Oguari's point about the Montreal Treaty, so when they were gearing up to have this war, the French governor intervened and had a conference to make peace because the French wanted the fur trade to keep flourishing. So there were 37 chiefs signed. One was Haudenosaunee, to say that they would share the land, and from that point on, it would be the dish with one spoon. The French called it the Treaty of Great Peace. The English called it the Treaty of Great Peace, and the French called it the Treaty of Grand Paix, and the Haudenosaunee called it the dish with one spoon. So that's the understanding of our people, that this area is the dish with one spoon. And all we're doing is, but when we're giving it was one thing for our giving to our people, but when these are people from other First Nations, if we had asserted that this is our traditional territory and it was recognized by the Crown, I would have more comfort in writing these letters. But again, it's just based on very preliminary research.
Why don't we send them a letter back and ask them to ask the Algonquins for permission then, instead of us giving them permission?
Well, that's what I just wanted to raise that flag. I think it's okay, but let's see if we do
I just
hear
don't want
back.
to step on any toes. It's best not to step on any toes.
Yeah.
If that's Algonquins land, ask them to ask these.
Well, it's not, we don't take the view that it's Algonquin's land. We take the view that there's overlap, that we have an overlapping interest there. It's not exclusively theirs.
But then how do we give them permission and Algonquin then get upset with us because they didn't go to them for permission?
Yeah, so some of the chiefs will tell you, look, the Mohawks have no business giving anybody permission to hunt in our territory.
Exactly. Well, so we just ask them to send a letter to the
And
Algonquin.
actually, so there are some First Nations say that the Mohawks do not have any Aboriginal rights in Ontario at all.
Well, they're wrong.
Yeah, they're wrong. Anyway, okay, I don't, was that carried? It wasn't carried, the motion wasn't carried?
You made it, I seconded
I
it.
made it, but it wasn't
Well, I
carried.
asked if anybody, it was carried, but I just wanted to raise that issue, that it might happen, it may not. They may just, I don't know, I haven't talked to the new chief there about this whole issue yet. Just it was when Wendy was the chief, they were
So
refusing.
do you want to uphold your motion and just put a,
Well, what I can do is we could uphold the motion and I could call the chief there on Friday, but before this is sent out.
and ask AGA Contois to reach out to the Algonquin?
They should reach out to the Algonquins as well.
As well, because it's an overlapping harvest.
Yeah, because we view that there's an overlapping
So we
interest
can
there.
put that in our letter too.
Yeah. So we'll send a letter with that in it, okay?
Because I've asked for a letter for moose in the Algonquins, and they say no.
No, my grandmother registered with the Algonquins up there and she put me down on her moose tag permit.
Yeah, because they have to have tags through the M&R. That's just because they sold
Well, she
their
put me
rights
down
to
as
the M&R.
her
They
hunter.
sold their rights a long time ago. And then got
She's from?
Really what council should do is the Catherine Gibson report should be peer reviewed. I'd like to see what it would cost to peer review that report. Dan Brandt can get somebody to peer review that report. Then it can be used as a body of evidence to assert a claim there. But right now, it's just been sitting there with nothing.
What
We know.
report is it
The
again?
Catherine Gibson report, Lisa knows, historical report. So we had goodwill money from some of the corporations a few years ago. And so we used that money to get some historical research done on our traditional territory because there was this ongoing conflict with M&R about where our people were hunting. What they did say, the M&R did say they would recognize the Peterborough M&R administration area, but that's not really the basis for establishing any kind of treaty or Aboriginal right. That's administrative purposes for M&R. And so that was basically all of the land south of number 7. All the crown land south of number 7. And there's very little crown land left south of number 7.
Yeah.
So, okay, so there's a new, the Smoke Depot is owned by John A. Keith on the Lower Slash Road, and they want to sell alcohol.
Was this the same one from last week and we were just deferring it to see if they had the insurance?
And they do have liability.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have liability
Can I
insurance,
speak to that too?
clarity.
So when these people apply to the Ontario for this stuff, they have to go through a certain process. So before they get any of this, like they get their process made, they still have to show a different proof of insurance before they'll give them anything.
Oh, good.
So they are governing them. I dug into that.
Perfect.
Just
But this is just to give them permission to apply for.
Yeah.
to apply. But
Yes.
if he's going to go through it, then he's still got to.
Our original motion said we would
So,
approve them if they
It's
had
no-
insurance.
It's just, he knows what he's gonna have to do, because they're gonna tell him. Before you get out, you gotta have this kind of insurance in place. That's
So-
what we're gonna give it.
Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion, chief.
Curtis?
I'll second.
And Naguari? Curtis and Naguari move. Is there anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. The home support funding increase. MBQ support program has received a 4% increase, which equals $28,250, which covers 3% increase in wages of $24,010 for workforce compensation and 1% for $4,240 for general costs. This amount will be added to the existing budget. There's a motion required for council to acknowledge the increase of $28,250 for the home support program budget and approve signing the contribution agreement. Does council approve?
I'll motion.
Aaron, who will second it?
I think I heard, Chris online.
Chris Miracle, are you seconding the motion?
I'm in support, Chief. I didn't second, but sure, if needed.
Okay, are you going to second it then? We don't have a seconder.
Yeah, sure.
Chris Miracle? Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Number 12, home support meal services agreement. MBQ Home Support has been in receipt of an agreement to add $5,150 to the base funding to provide meal services. Council's motions required to council to acknowledge receipt of the correspondence to add $5,150 to the home support program base budget for meal service and approve the signing of the agreement. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Moved by Aaron. Is there a seconder?
I'll second, chief.
Curtis? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. The Hastings Prince Edward Health Unit memorandum of understanding for the naloxone kits. Currently, MOU and that MBQ has with the Hastings Prince Edward County Health Unit is due to expire for the distribution of naloxone kits, and an update to the MOU is needed to be signed. The initial MOU was signed in 2018. Since 2018, the Good Minds program has distributed approximately 1,450 naloxone kits to members in the community and members off territory. The only edits are updated and the contact information, as nothing else has changed. So there's just new contact information here in our organization. That's what we're notifying them of. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Aaron, is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Curtis? Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Some
Sure.
professional
Hope you don't
invoices now in the finance section of the budget, of the agenda. So we have an invoice from Derek Wong for September 2024. The long-term care was $350 and the ECDev Corporation was $28,957.16.
All motion on chief.
Motion to pay the bills was moved by Chris. Brandt, who'll second it?
I'll second.
Aaron? Anyone opposed?
Chief, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So I couldn't open on my phone, I have to get on my computer. The motions in support of this, so there are motions and we identified a budget for this initiative, the clean energy storage.
This is the work he's already done, I believe.
It's still in the work. It's still a working project, Chris, at this time.
Right. and what-
It's to determine if this is really a wise investment. That's really what's going on.
Yeah.
There's no motion to approve anything. The meeting that I've been asked to go to on the 24th of October in Toronto is to simply ask Stephen Lecce, who's the new Ministry Energy, if they're supporting this technology, and if so, is this a project that there will be in the energy mix for Ontario when they expand the hydro production in Ontario?
Yeah, so I'm repeating the same questions I asked last time this came up. What did we approve for a budget? I mean, there was no budget approved? Is there a dollar amount? Did we put 100,000 aside for the consultants, or was it a blank check?
Sherry, can you,
I'm not aware that anything was.
there is no budget approved
No,
for
not
this.
yet, no.
Not yet, but my
We're still
understanding.
in a discovery phase, like, we're not locked in.
But I guess the question I'll ask them, the potential partner, are they going to provide us with some money toward our development costs? Because there's obviously legal bills here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Like, I don't know who's having the day-to-day conversations with this company. Do you know, Sherry?
Derek has, that's why we
But who it's-
contracted Derek.
But who in staff is he talking to?
the executive team.
Yeah, to myself and Lisa and Angela, we've been involved when we can in these discussions, but they're getting close to looking at an agreement for us.
So anyway, you need to tally up these costs that we've been paying Derek Wong and any other professionals to research this project. We need to pen a letter under my signature, ask them, are they going to provide development, costs to MBQ, and if so, at what amount?
So when Derek made his presentation, he threw some numbers out there. $25 million investment gets you this, 50 million gets you that. Do you people
Okay,
remember that presentation?
Chris, there is a confidentiality agreement with this thing that's under discussion. So we are not at liberty to share with that information with the public at this point in time, because it's under consideration. So it really is the disclosure of a breach of our agreement to discuss that now at this point in time, because nothing is decided.
Okay, so if I hear you correctly, we have no idea what our level of commitment is today. what it's going to be.
There is no commitment. There is no commitment yet.
Well, we're making commitments every council by spending tens of thousands of dollars.
Well,
to
it
get
has
a
to be,
blurb for
it has to
answer.
be, it has to be vetted out. It has to be checked out before there can be any kind of recommendation made to the council whether this is something they should consider investing in. We can't just sit down and have somebody, rattle off something off their sleeve and then make a decision on that.
I hear what you're saying, Chief, but you fast forward, spend, let's say a couple $100,000, and they say, yeah, you guys got to potentially make X amount, but you got to invest 10 or 15 million dollars.
Well, anyhow,
Okay.
I'm not prepared to breach the agreement, Chris, that the council did authorize to sign. There is a confidentiality agreement in place.
I hear what you're saying, Chief, but.
So a lot of this stuff cannot be made public without the permission of the partner that you're doing
But you
business
could
with. This is
potentially-
their
you could-
project. This is their project, and all we're making a decision about is whether or not the band should invest in this type of energy production or not. And so we need professional people to do that assessment for us and advise us. That's all they're doing, is they're getting advice.
Their project, but it's our money, it's community money. So on one hand, you're potentially spending $100,000 for them to say, yeah, it's a viable initiative, but you got to spend 10, 15, 20 million to get your foot in the door.
So
Earlier today, Chief, we just had some counselors say, we don't feel comfortable overseeing the investment of a miner for $1,000 each. But then all of a sudden, a couple hours later, we feel comfortable potentially putting the community on the hook for tens of millions on an investment. Like, my point is, why spend potentially hundreds of
Okay,
thousands
then
of
do
dollars?
you want us, is your motion just to cancel it and back out of it? If so, let's do that, and I'll cancel that meeting on the 24th.
I want to know potentially how much is this going to cost, potentially how many millions.
Well, that's what Derek Wong will advise the council. He's the one that'll do the due diligence that's required before there should be due diligence required before you make any kind of investment decision, and that's really what this is about.
Chris,
Yes, Chris.
we are live here, and you're talking everything that is private and confidentiality, and you're making it public. Please,
talking to
please.
you folks.
I know, no, you are putting numbers out, and it's not meant to be. So, could we just discuss
Okay.
that later?
Okay.
Please.
Okay, I'm negative. I don't believe I have that mandate.
I don't know
Negative.
what he's voting
Well,
on, but
the
this
question
is to
isn't
pay
whether, the question
bills
isn't
that's
whether or
already
not we
been
should be,
done.
we're digressing, because the question is,
Sure.
is
Oh, great.
professional people have been asked
Just
by
second to
Mohawk
pay the
Civic
bills.
Clinic to provide advice and do work, and all that's on the agenda at this point in time is whether or not council approves to pay the bill for that invoice, for that advice. That's what's on the
It's work
agenda.
that's already been done, so yeah.
So the work has been done. If you don't want Derek to do any further work on this, you'll have to make a motion to say so, and we'll suspend it.
I voted negative last invoice, I'm voting negative this invoice.
So negative, Chris? And with regard to the long-term care, we do have a legal line in there for that. The long-term care does have a budget for legal.
Nobody's talking about that issue, chief.
Okay, it's, who will move in second, is there a mover or second to pay this bill? Chris and Chris Brandt and Obari? Is anyone, Chris is negative, opposed? Anybody else negative? Anybody opposed besides Chris? Anybody opposed besides Chris Brandt? Chris Miracle. So it's been moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Obari to pay the bill. These invoices, the motion is carried. The Alan Pratt invoice. Turton Pen loss of use.
Did you skip
Miller
15?
Thompson.
Miller Thompson.
Oh, Miller Thompson. Let's see
15.
here.
Mhm.
Should just be the one before it.
Okay, so Chris is negative on this one. It's Chris and Obari. The Miller Thompson invoice. So the Miller Thompson invoices are for the Police Services Board, which you've agreed to set up. There's $14,764.50. There's corporate matters, $1,159.50 for a total to date of $37,765.42. Is there a motion to pay these invoices?
A motion, chief.
Obari,
I'll second it, chief.
Chris Brandt. Is there anybody opposed? Anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. There's an invoice from Alan Pratt for September 2024, and this relates to the Turton Pen loss of use work that is being done. Is there a motion to pay this invoice?
Motion.
Aaron
Second, chief.
and Curtis? Anybody opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried.
I'll go and get Cecil for the next.
So when I meet with this company and Stephen will actually, I'll let them know that there's no firm council decision on this yet, if they're going to invest or not. Request a meeting from the First Nations Finance Authority. And that's what we just heard, right? Pardon me? So we'll just note that we've had the session today.
No, that wasn't the
No,
first one.
no, this is different.
This is
Oh, I see. This is Cecil's presentation to council. Okay, got it. Cecil, the First Nations Finance Authority. So anyway, like I realize they have better interest rates in some cases, but the problem that we had the last time we had the conversation with them, they wanted all of the band's assets to be all of our own source revenue to back up a loan, which was far in excess of what the amount was. They should only ask for whatever the value is of the loan that you're taking out. For example, if you're taking out $1 million, they don't need $31 million worth of security.
So I just had a first meeting with them and been talking about it.
Definitely.
Yeah, so they have had many First Nations and now they are open to kind of, reach out to us with many other flexibilities that they have kind of, incorporated in their processes. So I think with my first meeting, they were quite positive that we want to reach out to Mohawk and, see, because as we know that we have many loans with BMO, we have loans with Royalty Solar, we have Royalty Winds, which are high interest loan. So me and Derek were also speaking about it. There is an option that we can do is that Royalty Wind loan, which is 5.8 million loan and which is accumulating day after day with high interest, we can actually take that and take a low interest lending from FNFA,
Okay,
So we are kind of working on it. Was just the first meeting and they all come and present their team and what they do and how many First Nations they have supported and the project that they have successfully, kind of helped. So I think that's why I requested for a date of availability so they can come and present, and I'm having a meeting with them on Friday to discuss more on what is their landing rates. It is actually very good rate compared to like bank, like I would say not very low than bank, but they are kind of compatible with it. And also they are supporting, they are not a profit-making organization, they are not a profit-making organization. All their board members are First Nation members. So I think getting this opportunity just to learn more would help us to maybe leverage some good interest rate and transfer our high interest loan to them and get some benefit there.
Yeah, we never did finish up what we were supposed to do when we got certified and recognized
No,
because we're
and
supposed to have bylaws in place.
Yeah, and I confirm that with FNMB, which we have to do 3 certification, we have not done only 1 certification, but FNFA now doesn't matter if we have not done that certification. They are not linking FMB with FNFA.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, so they are now, they have really a lot of processes in them that first they wanted all the 3 certification, now they do not want all the 3 certification. We have done 2 and they are good with that. So they
Okay.
have confirmed to me that.
Find out about security on loans because I do not agree that if you borrow $1 or $2 million from them, that you should have to pledge $31 million for security. That doesn't make any sense to
Yeah,
me.
I think we learn more, so that's why I would like let them come and let them share us more how their progress and processes are. I think, and me and Derek, we can learn and we'll make sure what is best for MBQ
Yeah,
and
okay.
Not go into the
So
terms that they are.
we really just need a date then, I guess.
Yes,
How long do you
yes.
think this presentation would take?
I believe an hour or so. They
So
do
why don't we
work-
schedule on the next council meeting day? Because all the council will be here then.
How long has this company been around?
That's a very good question.
Because,
Oh, 15 years or longer.
Yeah, but
Just
it
like,
has-
those people that.
20 years maybe.
So the latest project, I know,
Oh, yeah.
one of the latest projects that they have done is Cheaperman First Nation drama. They built the whole community center and they have $30 million. That whole project was funded by FNFA. So that's where I learned. I went into their site, and some of the interesting projects that they have helped many First Nation to build, like wellness center, community wellness center, health center. So I think they're liaising with many First Nation to help them build these good projects. So I think.
So are we open to hearing them?
Yeah, absolutely. I am anyway.
So at next council meeting?
Okay.
You don't want to hear.
So then the next council meeting is November the 8th, right? Next regular council,
Yes.
November the 8th. Motion to reschedule for November the 8th. Curtis
I'll second.
and Aaron. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion's carried. Thank you, Cecil.
She'll be staying on. We have a couple more.
So there's a ISC amendment.
Yes.
So we need to acknowledge and approve the amendments forwarded to ISSC for additional program funding for the fiscal year and for 2024-25. Amendment 79 is for Child and Family Services, and that is for $28,520. Amendment 76 is just a modification to the programs and budget attached to the corresponding letter. Amendment 77, First Nations school food, $18,690. Provincial private schools, $64,260. Renovation additions, $39,780. Jordan's Principal Child Back to School, $673,860. Response, $288,121. Indigenous Health Equity Fund, $384,211. Motion to approve and amend the amendments.
I'll motion.
Aaron, who will second the motion?
I'll second.
Owari? Is anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Please sign. The next item is the unaudited financial statement 24-25 current fiscal year. Please find attached the unaudited financial statement report for April 24 to September 24, 6 months for the year's proposal. Please request acknowledge the unaudited financial statement report. I don't have it here, but I presume it's in my computer.
Yes.
Motion to acknowledge and approve.
I think Cecil wanted to give a brief presentation on her findings.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I put this?
Can it be brought up, Shelley?
I'll get my computer, just hold on.
Can it be pulled
I
up?
can present
Alright.
We can follow along with you. I think we all have it up.
can put that as a share in the Teams.
Is it different than what we already have? Oh, it's the same? We have them up on our computer.
It's just,
We can follow along.
I thought it would slide better. Didn't come all apart though.
Let me see here, I just gotta find it. Okay, right. Cecil, you sent it.
Send it to you.
You just sent it?
It's in the drive.
It's in the drive. I put it in the drive.
Then we can make it big.
So it's not an email, it's in the drive. I don't have Word on my computer, so I can't get it. Can you
I
send me an
can
email?
I'll email you, yeah, okay.
Email me, don't send it there,
Yes,
because I don't
yes.
have that on this system. I have a
Okay,
different
both the documents.
computer
I'll
than the
email.
rest of them do, for some reason or other.
So just to give you some background, I've asked Cecil to provide us with an
Just wait till
update.
just wait till I have it, Sherry, please.
Yeah, I'm just giving an update on our financial situation as of September.
Hey there, Chris, do you have that up on your computer?
No, I'm okay though.
I'm going to email you and, Chief. Chris.
Email it to Chris
Okay.
Miracle.
Yeah,
Did the
yeah.
rest of you, did you find it on your drive?
I've got.
We have it.
Because I don't have this, that function on this computer. That's why I can't find it. Sherry, can you ask Bryce to put that function on this computer so
What function is that, Chief?
well,
He wants the
where,
drive.
is it Word that you need to have on here for that to work?
Access to the drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
On my laptop. Otherwise, I don't have access to the same information that counselors do.
I can read them all.
Okay, I'll send you the email, Chief, and to Chris as well.
Do you know how it is to find a doctor? What's that? I didn't know.
No, is it TMC report PDF?
Yeah, so the report is kind
I
of
got
the
it. I have it now.
detail.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the presentation is, the information has been taken from the detailed report, but like kind
Let's,
of. what
let's just
goes
check with
together.
Chris. Chris, do you have it in your email? Just open your email. Chris Brandt, Miracle.
When was it sent, Cecil?
Just
minutes
now.
ago. It should come
No.
through on your computer.
It's in the drive though.
Chris Merrick.
Okay, well, I have to use my phone because my laptop is tied up.
Oh, it will be tiny.
Okay, so what we
No,
have
go
here,
ahead.
pardon me?
Just go ahead, Chief. I'll follow along.
Okay, so we have a document here that Cecil's going to present.
Okay, so I'll start with, this is unaudited financial statement as of September 30th, 2024. Just to keep you all, giving you a heads up that most of the funding that we received second quarter, that is September, sometimes we receive this funding in October and November. So whatever has been received is only been posted. There is always a time difference on when we get the funding, but yes, expenses happen on a regular monthly basis. So sometime you will notice that there is expenses but there's no revenue. But because the revenue has not yet been received and posted in the system, so this is the live data that I have just extracted from the
Okay.
system, what is posted. So we'll start first one. The executive summary has all programs, which would be our administration, community well-being, education, infrastructure, nation building, housing, and all other programs as well. I'll summarize with the information that's here. So as per the approved budget, the first column is approved revenue budget. Second column is approved expenditure budget, the projected surplus and deficit, revenue received as of September 2024 on each of the programs, and deferred revenue from March 2024. So out of the 165 budget as of March 24, I have closely balanced most of them now, but some are still changing because there are some adjusting entries that I'm still posting. The numbers would not change significantly, but to some extent, like maybe just few, one or two, or $100,000. So the total deferred revenue from March 2024 is 58,251,224, which the total is down. And then we have the total revenue received as of September, which is the new fiscal year, and total expenditure as of September 2024, and what is the surplus and deficit in each of these total each departments, that's summarized here. So in overall, if we see like administration department, which is the detail of that department is on page third of 15. So you all can go to page third, which includes council expenses, fiber, which is 7 Gen, Gov, human resource department, and summer programs. So if we see those programs, we are kind of council expenses, and those doesn't have any kind of surplus and deficit as of September 2024, because we do receive a proportion of ISC funding from the band support funding. Gov, we have to understand there is a deficit showing because not all of the funding has been received for band support. These are and all the interest has not been received, but the expenses of salaries happen on a very regular basis, so they are more on a real time, while the funding is not received on a real time, because some fundings are received maybe in October or November month. But usually at the year end, these budgets are kind of mostly not in deficit, except the council expenses, which we try to cover up through Gov, kind of interest more that we received in that budget.
So I see, Cecil, here that we have $58.2 million in deferred revenue from March of last year.
Yes.
So is this money all going to get spent this year?
Now, there are several large projects that might be spent, because one of the biggest project, if you see in community well-being, which is 28 million, that is the CWC expansion building. So I had spoken to Tom, like there is a substantial amount of work and construction being done. We will spend a good amount, but there is a possibility that it will be still carry forwarded to one more year.
And is that, well, we better get on it early, because we don't want to wind up, because these are normally 2-year agreements, right?
Yeah, but as per I sometimes understand that now, I know ISC has kind of been very strict now that we can only carry forward one more year. But the new funding, so each year it will, so the money of 2023 can be carry forwarded to 24. The money coming in 24 can be carry forwarded in 25. But we have to kind of do share them exceptionally, especially the construction projects, which are sometimes like they can be delayed. They might go year 1, year 2, like in a phase wise, 3 or
The
4
community,
years.
the community
so-
well-being center is slated for
Okay, so-
occupancy March.
Okay, so Kyle Weir asked us to identify surpluses as at March 31st, 2024, to see if any of the existing deficits could be covered off for other programs. And so I guess that conversation is not taking place yet.
Yeah, so now, while I have kind of come up closing most of the budgets, I will be having a detailed conversation with him, because this is a summarized that you are, but each individual program, which
Okay.
this kind of
So I guess-
accumulates all the money, we have to discuss with him, because I just want to understand with him that, as I said earlier, I don't want to spend education money towards construction project. It has to
Well,
have its eligibility
Yeah,
criteria.
I don't think we can do that either.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess we have to really identify then what are real surpluses that we think we can use, that's not going to be required for program delivery in those areas this year.
Yes.
So, I mean, the program manager should be able to do a forecast, and they know what their expenses are ongoing basis. They should be able to give you a general idea of what we expect the surplus to be at the end of March 2025.
Yes, like we finance do provide monthly statement to them. Sometimes
I don't receive a much of response in regards
but-
to estimating,
see,
but
so
yes,
I-
I will be doing more.
But see, I don't see that as one person's job. I don't see that as solely your job. The managers who are managing these programs and delivering services should know what it's going to cost them. They should be in charge of their budget and know
That's
what,
right.
it isn't just a matter of doing a check requisition, say pay the bill. They should know, are they going to have a surplus or not, then identify it early on. So we can have the conversation to see if that can be redirected toward other deficits
Yes, you're right.
instead of just waiting till the audit's done to find out.
It's not just surpluses, Chief. We're also identifying those areas that are running deficits, and looking at possibility of lobbying efforts in those areas.
Yeah, so as
But
a-
you can't lobby if you show surpluses, and then why are you not spending the money you already got?
Yeah, but they do also have to understand, Chief, that the surpluses are not they are specific to each program. Like you can't put one surpluses of one program towards other deficit when the
Okay.
eligibility criteria are not there. So I think only education surpluses can go towards education.
Education.
Only like construction of water or infrastructure can go towards their deficit. So I
Okay.
think ISC need to kind of work that way with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they're very much aware of that,
Yeah.
Cecil.
So I guess the other thing is the deficits that we see here in the far right-hand corner. That's as at September the 30th, right?
September 30th, 2024, right.
So then, so what does it look like then to the year end? Are they able to give you a forecast?
So as of now, like that's as I said, it's for me sometime the way our program and our finance work, it's too hard for me to consider that these are deficit program.
Yeah.
Because sometimes by the end of the year, like many time ISC, when they have extra fund, they'll send all kind of money in February and March, like the end of the fiscal year. And that might kind of catch up with the expenses.
Okay.
So until we close the book, it's sometimes very hard to
Yeah,
determine the surplus.
you may not have the money, but we have agreements to say that they owe it, right?
Yes,
So
yes, we have those. Yes,
these are grants receivable.
yes. That kind of helps me that, okay, these are not going to be in deficit. They might show it now.
So we just should have a column there, grants receivable not yet received,
Yeah,
contributions not yet received.
not received. Yeah, that we can make one more column which can be projected that way.
We
Yeah.
we are aware of certain programs that do run deficits.
Yeah.
And Cecil has highlighted those areas because
So-
they
so we see-
consistently run
We
deficits.
see here the fiber optic to the homes is a deficit, right?
Yes, and that because only till August the money, that revenue that we got from their customers has been posted. Fiverr has never been in deficit. They usually catch up as the invoices
So
are sent.
this is not a real deficit then?
Yes. So I have highlighted few.
But
If you look
I
further,
thought they had over $1 million at one time. They were $1 million ahead. What happened to that?
no. So mostly if there is surpluses, if in fiber project they give some money back to OFNLP and some they put it as a replacement reserve, because when there is equipment or anything that if Rice needs, then we kind of try to.
So how much is in the replacement reserve?
We don't have a separate bank account maintained for that. We from the past 3 years, it's the profit that is just kept it as in books. But the auditors, like John told me, that you can't create a separate replacement account for an internal program. It is not like CMHC where they have a restricted programs, those require separate bank account, but not for an internal running program. So I just keep it in books and in record where he can use it if there is
Yeah,
any
because it would be a
replacement.
good idea for it to have its own separate bank account, because the intent, that's a for-profit
We
business.
have a bank account for revenue, like for the customers, but not as a replacement reserve, like a restricted. Because Chief, we already have 27 bank account. To manage bank account and replacement reserve are very
So how much is in that bank account then for the fiber optic?
for the
Any idea?
fiber optic. As of I can just give me 1 second. I'm opening the bank statement as of today, September 7 Jan.
Surplus of 214.
So they obviously look that they're planning to do more fiber optic cable because the salaries are not $1 million down there. They don't have that many staff.
Everything comes out of the general bank, like their salary and everything comes out from the general bank account. So the revenue that is in there, it's just their regular funding. Okay, so. As of September 30th, we have 562,000 in their bank. 62,000.
562,000 in the
yes,
bank account.
yes.
Okay.
So now we come to the.
So when people pay their bill and
Yes.
that gets wiped out.
Yeah,
okay.
it's we
So
recently.
is that usually about the amount of money we take in during that 214,000?
Yes, because that's chief, as I said, we have only posted the August revenue. We didn't post
So-
the September revenue. Usually the entries are done in the first or
So
second week of
I
October.
don't think there's very many arrears though in the fiber optic. is
No,
there?
not many of them.
Okay,
Yeah, so
because they get disconnected
considering
if they don't pay their bill.
administration programs are like kind of we cover up most of our deficits from the JunGov, which is having the high interest. Of course, we get the band support funding, but we have only got as of August.
So the biggest driver of the deficit in GenGov is the general government is the biggest driver. That $1 million deficit is the $912,000.
Yeah, but
$12
eventually, Chief, we get a very high interest rate over in that, which is kind of caught up at the end of the year. And we have not received the complete band support funding.
So
as
when
well.
when we say only 5 months interest have been posted, are we using the interest of our investments to put in to cover the staff that work in GenGov?
Not, it does to some extent, I would say, but we do get a good amount, around 800,000 from ISC for band support funding. But other than that, yes, some expenses are covered through the interest as well.
So the approved budget is the annual revenue is 6 million, and the approved expenditure budget is 3.2 million. A projected surplus of 2.8 million.
Yeah.
Revenue received 1.2 million.
Yeah. Program administration.
So
That's the annual budgeted revenue, Chief, and this is just
so
as
that's
of
from all
September.
sources. That's from
Yes.
Open LP. How much of that's Open LP?
That's not of OFNLP, would be in another program below. It doesn't considered under JunGov. You'll have it separate on page.
So where does the money come from for GenGov? There's contributions for IS because we operate IS
Yeah,
programs.
so if
and
I
other provincial programs.
yes, you get band support funding, you get interest from the bank. Then there is other revenue. You get some refund. Associate provides us around 50,000 from the tax credit rebate that we get. That goes in JunGov. And yes, the biggest contribution is around 1.2 to 1.5 million dollar administration fees from entire department goes to JunGov.
So then if the deficit then is projected at the end of September of $912,000, then I guess it's going to be close to $1.9 million at the year end, right?
No, it will not, because we have not posted the administration fees which comes quarterly. We get around $1.5 million administration fees from all the department which goes to JunGov.
Okay, so that should
Yes.
clear that up, right?
Yes,
Okay.
because 10% of all the funding administration fees goes to JunGov.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so then we have CWC Community Wellbeing Program, which has total over 70 programs, individual budget that starts from number 7 and it continues till page, if you go to page 8, page 7 till 72. So all those are CWC programs.
Okay. So I see the next one that's in deficit is home support and
Yes, we'll go there. Okay, where is home support? Yes, we have not
And
posted
homemakers.
home support is a very well managed program. We hardly have from consecutive past years $200 or $300 of deficit. Tracy manages the program very well, but the funding has not been posted as of September. So there is deficit, and I'm confident that it will not be at the year end.
So once the revenue received is posted.
Yes.
So how far are we behind with postings?
So Chief, mostly the funding for September quarter comes in October. Like when each quarterly money comes, when you finish a quarter, the money comes as a deposit in October first week or a second week.
Okay, so when we get checks in from the government, it just all goes into GenGov, right?
Yes.
Then it gets farmed out to whatever
Yes.
program it goes from after
Yes.
that. Is there any way that we can have the checks, the transfers coded to our account so it just goes into
Right
that
away.
budget right away without having to cut one of those steps out?
No, like
Wouldn't that
money,
make the accounting simpler?
No, so the money has to come in one bank account, Chief, because we can't have 165 bank account, right? So we have to have money in one
Or
bank account.
we could request the funder to identify according to the budget, our
Yeah,
system.
we know now, like we do get a remittance
So
advice.
it's not this great big laborious exercise to figure out where the money lands when it's one big
Yeah,
check.
that is going to be, you cannot eliminate that step, Chief, because
Because that would help in the ones that have to do posting to get it done quicker, then it would help you to know where we're
yeah,
at
but if
financially.
that would be possible in a small organization where you have 20, 30 programs, but not as large as us, where we have so much streams of funding. We get provincial funding, Hastings, all other ISC, so many different sources of funding where that's why it comes into one bank account and then we stream it
I've
out.
seen that, and I think that the funders could do a better job identifying what the money is for, which program it is, what.
Yeah, they do send a
and then the total
remittance
amount of that
advice.
check,
That
that
does
check.
help with a remittance advice. They do. We get like tons of emails with remittance advice every month. So that helps us to kind of connect the
No, but
deposit with
when
that
they what I'm
advice.
saying is when they give the approval letter for that transfer payment, that should be identified what programs it is and
Yeah,
the dollar amount.
they do that, Chief. They do that. But if there are some which are completely new pot of funding or a new application sent by a department, then there is a struggle where I have to find out that what money is this? Like, I didn't expect this money. Please help me or send me some more details so I can post it to the right budget. That's rarely that does happen, but yes, there's no way that we can eliminate that process. Just have to kind of figure it out by reaching out to the departments. Yeah.
More work.
So I just want to highlight in what Cecil's provided, she's highlighted in an aqua green color, the areas where we've kind of circled to keep an eye on that are always in deficit. So we're never going to, at the end of the year,
The Fitness Resource Center, 83,000.
is in
We've talked about
deficit.
this. Yeah, we've talked about that before.
So it's highlighted in
Yeah.
her report.
It's usually covered by
The Food Resource Center,
OFNLP.
The
71,000.
Food Resource Center is always in deficit.
And I
That-
think we could actually do better than that. If we had some kind of, let's say, a butcher that was qualified through the standards to be able to butcher wild game that could be given to the Food Resource Center, and not, so kind of like a FDA approved type of thing, so that would probably drop that kind of deficit if you've got a lot of, let's
So
say.
is there an
I think it's more
abattoir?
than just the butcher that has to be certified to make something FDA approved, and the animals have to be tested and everything else.
That's right.
There's testing done on the animals.
Yeah.
So I don't know, you'd have to check with an abattoir to see what can be done there. That's not a bad idea, actually.
Well, could we fund that through something else? Like the Food Resource Center?
Well, I know one year we approved that, that we bought, as a matter of fact, the council bought 2 freezers when the resource center was across from the council house, because when we supported the hunt at Presqu'île Park, they were supposed to give us so many deer that were going to be butchered and put in the freezer, people that wanted venison. We ended up having to buy hamburg to fill it.
Well, so like then, if you did it then, what's the difference in me?
Well, they just went ahead, they
here?
just went ahead and did it, they,
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying.
and if people didn't want to take the chance, but if it's cooked properly, then should take care of any.
That could
But
be-
again, if you're going to comply with the law, then it has to be certified and people handling it have to be licensed and all that. Or certified. Okay, so the Food Resource Center, one thing I do not want to see is I do not want to see people having to quarrel with each other over food. I think we're a prosperous enough community, we can support the food bank. Nutrition is part of health. That's a good investment when you give people proper nutrition for the ones that can't afford it. So maybe we need to put a little bit more money into the Food Resource Center because the groceries have gone up considerably in price. I shop for our family and I know how much food has gone up. You don't get too many groceries for $100 these days. But Susan is going to provide a report to council to let you know how many, I think she said there were 300 seniors getting the $100 gift certificates, and they were generally giving them out monthly when we had COVID money, but I don't know what it is now. And also there's a number of people using the food bank. There was 800.
They give out gift certificates to over 900 gift certificates are given out.
So there's a number, it's based on household, right? So that there's a significant number of things given out already, but if it's not enough, then we'll wait till we get Susan's report.
Yes, let's wait for Susan's report and then you can review it. It will be released to the public as well, and you can take a look at that.
Yeah. The only thing when these changes are going to be made though, Sherry, the council should be consulted though before the otherwise the councillors and myself are getting flack from the community and we don't really know what it's all about.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as we see, the community well-being program has a total deferred revenue of 28 million, and the major ones which are being carried forward is First Nation Child and Family Service Prevention. We got $12 million carry forwarded from from March 2024 because there's many positions. Sherry is aware that we need to kind of now fill more team members into that complete program, and they funded everything before. We have now executing that, like positions are going out, staffing is going to be filled up, and that's when this money will be used up. Okay. Then there is $3 million which is from the CWC expansion building, and I'm sure that we'll completely use it up by the end of this year, and they should not be carry forwarded. Those are the major carry forwards from the prior fiscal year, March 24.
Sherry, in the federal government, like when I worked there, every fall they used to have the United Way campaign, and the members would, a lot of civil servants would sign up to say, I'll give $5 a pay to the United Way, and it would help all these organizations. Some of them would, that's how they did it there. They're the people who payroll deduction donated. So I don't know if anything like that would work here for the food bank.
We do get donation, Chief, but I think the expenses
It's all
are...
donations.
But it's all donations external though, to the reserve.
That's right.
What about our own community?
Yeah, but these are all things that we're going to have to start thinking about to support that program. Is it a program, or is it like it was never meant to be a program? It was always a volunteer group that oversaw this work, and now it's landed to administration. So, and it's always been on donation.
I think once we get Susan's report, we can understand
Yes,
more on that. Yes, how many
exactly. So
people
let's
are-
wait
yeah.
for this report, and then we'll have a better understanding.
Okay, so then the 50,000.
So page 8 of 15, which is the education program. If we look there, most of the funding hasn't been posted because we get complete, most of them are provincial and ISC funding. We have a huge carry forward for Oahaze program, $1.3 million. And there have been many expenses and, development in the Oahaze program. And these funds are kind of planned to be utilized now. So we should not have a further carry forward unless we have for the current new year, because they fund like over $2 million in for that program, and it's always like a cycle of carry forwards each year.
Okay. So then we see we've got the nude mid building, 98,000. So with the new admin building, that's this one, right?
Chief, we are at the education program, page 8 of 15.
Okay. I'm just going down to the ones that are in blue.
Oh, okay, you're just highlighting those ones.
Fire
Okay.
program,
Yes, that has always been in deficit.
deficit.
We have tech department, which is also in deficit, but now what we are doing is we are trying to not take the infrastructure department administrative fees, which is 10% of the funding, to JunGov, but we are trying to give it to tech department, where Todd's, Michael, Peter, all those salaries are kind of covered from that program. So because JunGov has enough revenue, from past 2-3 years, we try to not take the administrative fees of the funding that department get, but to give it back to cover their salaries. So I think by the end of the last year, we didn't had the deficit because we did this kind of a little bit of switch in transfer of fund. So I'm hoping that I can still manage to cover up by the end of the fiscal year, and we shouldn't have OFNLP contribution because we didn't had that last year as well. So we'll see how it goes as the year progresses.
Okay, and then the water treatment, O&M,
That
we're
has
aware of
always
that
been
one.
there.
We've been lobbying for that one.
The
Lands.
water treatment O&M is supposed to be 100% funded by the departments. We need to write a letter to them.
Yeah,
reminding
Chief,
them
we
of
wrote them twice letter. I've always put in the lobby meeting that we had as well, and they are aware of it. And then that's where they are saying now that if you have surpluses, try to use that surpluses
Okay.
towards that. But as you see, the surpluses are in different department. I can't use.
Well, Todd and somebody at the department is having discussion about the formula for here.
Yes.
See, and
Yes,
so has that been
that's the
settled yet or
concern,
not?
Yeah. So Todd told me that he is communicating with the senior officer there because those old formulas are old based. They have not revised with times, and I think those revision needs to be done.
So the other areas that we've highlighted are lands research is another area.
And membership, nation building is
And
the
nation
membership.
building.
Yeah,
What is the nation building?
it's membership program.
Okay.
Yeah, we are never, the core funding has never been in par with the expenses. We have always funded these two programs through Rama funding, like OFNLP funding. Yeah.
Okay.
Then we have the band property maintenance, which
Yeah.
runs, is running deficit.
Yeah, this is actually in-house deficit, and housing budget covers it up. So it's not going to be OFNLP burden. We always do at the year end a transfer from HOMISC, which covers up band property maintenance. Yes, new admin building, we always support that through Rama funding.
Okay, so the mortgage will be paid off in November, right?
Yes,
So then that should reduce then, right?
yes, mortgage.
And so what are we paying a month? $4,000 a month? Or 4,500 a month?
No, we paid for the loan you are talking about?
Yes, for the admin bill.
32,000, Chief.
So 42,000 will come off
Yes.
of there, off that.
Yeah,
budget. So-
then that will become, that budget will be little better compared to prior years. Yes, there's the loan comes out.
So we pay $45,000, that'll reduce that by that much
Yeah.
per year.
Yeah,
Because this building is paid, well, is nearly paid for.
yeah. This November is the last term.
The 10-year mortgage.
Yeah, and then community center, commercial building, all these are kind of internal deficit, and they are all covered by housing budget. At the end of the year, a transfer is done from HOMISC, so they are not kind of having any impact on OFNLP funding.
Is that the ones highlighted in
Blue. Yeah.
orange?
Yeah, orange ones are the one now which I have to
So-
discuss more with Tom, like
So
what are the
with-
funding sources. We have to maybe do a new application or maybe lobby these fund. These are the projects that we'll have to lobby, which are in orange.
Through our lobby efforts, we've got a little over $2 million so far. We're not done yet.
2.3, I believe, Chief.
Yeah, so we're getting there. If we hadn't lobbied, we wouldn't have that money.
Yeah, so the one which are in oranges, which I need to discuss with Tom, like to find out any other sources of funding. Eventually, if we don't find sources of funding, then housing, which is the homeless budget, will cover up, which usually covers up. But it would be good to have other sources of funding, so then we can.
What I think
Yeah.
we need a homeless strategy, and I think we should have a meeting with the LFDC to see how we can pair programs together to make something work here, instead of it just all coming out of housing. We built a subdivision by pairing other programs together that's income producing. We've done it before and we can do it again. But the crews that get started there, they can't work in fits and starts here and there and all over like a mosquito. They have to stay at one job and get it done, then move to the next job.
But I would like to know, although it doesn't have anything to do with this finance, but I would like to know if the workers and the trainees at AFLDC would build on site.
Well, it's that we can have that discussion with them. That's why we need to have a meeting and develop a
If
strategy
we could.
on putting something together to pool money in from different sources to make it work. There's lots of money out there for youth, to train youth. What are we doing?
Because I know, I guarantee there's gonna be a savings in money. And, for them as trainees, it would actually be, job training
Yeah.
rather than under a covered building, inside of a covered building.
So the model that we had before, when we started the subdivision, we built one house. That was the school for the trainees. There were, I think, 18 signed up. And the goal was to make certified carpenters. So they went to school for, I think, a half a day, then the other half a day, they actually had hands-on building experience. And a number of them did graduate and got a carpenter's license. Some of them started successful businesses. So it can be done, but you have to get partners together and you have to have a collaborative table. That's what's needed here.
So any other questions around Cecil's report?
I think it's a very good report, Cecil. It's detailed. And we just need some strategies then to deal with that
Yeah, I
deficit. So
will
maybe we
have
could have a
to-
more focused discussion
We'll have to
at
speak
another
with
time about all
Tom and
what needs to be
department
done
to
to
kind
the
of get more. Yeah. I'll discuss with Tom in regards to that and see how we can work and benefit some of the, ALFTC student and maybe lower the cost of expenses for us. And of course, I'm trying to see if any other funding sources are available other than ISC, where he can, try to put application and get some funding, where even if it's coming next year, it's okay. We can kind of decommit the fund that way.
In home and community care, I see there's $935,000 surplus at the end of September. Do we get all the funding in for the whole year for that program? Why there's that surplus, or is there more money coming in?
Which chief are you, can you
930
specify?
home and community care, 935,000.
Home and community care. Which page number, if you can tell me?
It's under the first page. It's item number.
Yes, I see that. There is a,
24.
yeah, because if you look, the 530,000 is a deferred revenue, which has been added to that from the prior
So are they
year.
going to spend all that money?
Now, I'm sure they have plans to spend. Well,
Okay, well, that's a
have
pretty
to-
significant surplus. We better get a handle on it.
Okay, I'll speak to Suzanne on that particular one, yeah.
Like any of the big surpluses there, you need to find out what is the plan. And are
Chief,
they going to have that all spent, or is there going to be a surplus? Is there going to be lapsing money?
Yeah, but
Chief, we're
most
going to
of,
be hiring 30 people over there.
yes, and the
And
other,
that's where this
But
money,
all in home and community care?
well, in CWC,
many
there's-
areas it's going to, and then they can
Yeah,
kind
but home and community care can't be just used for general salaries. It's not like that. It's for people, it's for home care.
yeah, I'll look into, I'll ask Suzanne about the plans to whether it's going to be spent and how she's planning to, because by that, but I believe there's a lot of cheap Health Canada funding in there which allows 1 year carry forward. So even if it's the current year funding, we still get 1 more year to, it's a cycle that every year funding, it gives more, 1 more year we can spend. Then sometime if we don't get the funding next year enough, we can still use the carry forward of the current year. So Home and Community Care receives Health Canada funding as well as provincial funding. Yes, the priority is to spend the provincial funding as much as possible because they don't allow carry forwards at all.
Yeah, the other thing is patient transportation, gas has gone up too. Have we adjusted our mileage?
We'd have to
No.
look at those details,
we
Chief.
have-
We don't have those right here at our
Yeah.
fingertips.
So anyway, I think we can acknowledge the report, receipt is a good report. I'd like to just study it a little bit more, maybe come up with some ideas on how we can tackle some of these issues and,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, and
what we
I'm
can
going
achieve.
to, once I kind of finalize all the March 24 more detailed budgets, I'm going to have a meeting with Kyle to kind of go over all the surpluses and see like, what they allow to be adjusted towards which deficit. And I just want to make sure I'll bring it to your attention because I don't, it has to be approved by each department. Like I can't take the decision that I'm using education money to pay.
The managers have
CW.
to-
Yeah, so each directors will have to kind of agree to what ISC wants, and I'll share a report to council as well. So I'll have a meeting with Kyle and bring you an update on that. Yeah.
It is 4:28, we have to finish our agenda, so then could we have then a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the unaudited financial statements report? Moved by Ogari and seconded by
I'll second, Chief.
Curtis. Anybody opposed? It's a very good report, Cecil, and thank you very much for bringing that forward.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
So-
you. Thank you.
Just one more thing on there, and that's the audit findings management
Oh,
letter,
yeah, but I forgot all that.
just in case they have questions.
That's the prior year, right? Oh, I don't.
2023.
23.
So any idea, just Cecil, on an unrelated topic, when the 2024 audit will be completed? What's your goal date?
You always touch on my heart.
Well, just tell me when you think you can have it done by.
It's gotta be done before you go on holiday.
But that's not going to be happening, Chief, because I'll be very honest to you. I've completed OF and LP funding. All the reports, I've sent it to the auditors. They haven't got me any review still. I'm continuously working with them with CMHC audit. With these small two audit has to be done, which are kind of priority, and then we get to the consolidated audit. I have not got the financials from Belleville
Okay, but do you
Affordable
have,
as
do
well.
you have any idea how long it's going to take to get, should we be looking at January, February, March?
Well, Chief, as you know, I'm going on leave for my husband's treatment from November to December 23rd. I'll be back in country, but then we have December holidays.
So is it going to be done by then or not?
Not.
So then it's going to be put off till next year then?
Yes, Chief. Unfortunately, but I'm doing my best, Chief. Every day there's so much to be done that I'm doing. I can, but there's a turnaround time, Chief. The auditors also, there's a new manager
Okay,
there
so then
now.
you're-
Cecil, I would like for you to hand over some things before you go to others who can pick up
Yes,
the work
I-
and keep it going.
Well, I'm trying my best, but both positions are new positions. So
That's okay. They
Yeah,
need to
Okay,
learn.
you can
Yeah,
have
but
this administrative
this is
discussion
not the
outside of
time that I
council.
can train them, Sherry. I have to do, these are all complex areas. It's no time that I have for training and doing, but I'm trying my best, and they are doing the day-to-day things. If I take their time from day-to-day
Okay,
things,
so
then the
Cecil,
reports will not
so
be
you're,
done.
you're going to be out of the country from when to when?
From November 10th, I'm flying, and I'm coming back on 23rd December. Back in
So
country.
November and December, 2 months, okay? So then how many more months of work is involved in this?
Well, at least, Chief, after coming back, I will need at least, because the budget package also will be at the same time, I'll at least need 2 more months. I'll
How
be
many?
honest, 2 more months.
2 more
after
months,
I-
so we're looking at the end of February then. Okay, we should
Chief,
let our
question?
funder know, because at the end of next year, they start to withhold funds of our audit slate.
Yes, Chief, I know about that. I'm trying my best as much as I can. The whatever things I can delegate, Chief, but they have a limitations. My team members, like they are not qualified members who can do everything, and I can't train them 15 years of my education to them. They have to understand some concept to kind of get to that
So then
level.
what, are you telling me that they're hiring unqualified people?
No, like we are doing, they're helping me with many day-to-day operation, which is giving me more time now to concentrate on this because there's a lot of day-to-day things as well. Like the manager is now taking care entirely of the team, training the team, everything. But I have more on the review part, on the reporting part, and audit is not only
Okay.
only my work deliverables. You know the other deliverables that I am involved in as well.
I don't know the solution, Chief, to getting these audits more timely. We've provided staffing to the
Well, I would
department.
like a
We've
little,
increased
I
staffing.
would like to, some communication to go to our funders to let them know when we hope to get it done.
Well,
by.
we
No,
have.
I do that very regularly. I do send ISC Kyle every RGD, even
Because
Michael.
but you need to let us know too, Sheila, because if this comes up in a conversation, I don't know how to respond to them.
No, means usually I give them an update that it's in progress. Like I don't get a firm turnaround time from the auditor that they are going to complete the review by this date. So I don't get a firm date. So I don't want to commit a date, but I do tell them that it is in progress.
All I know is when can we have the
Well,
draft
maybe we can have a
audit report
discussion
done for the
about
auditors to
this
look at?
in private and separate from this, so we
Yes.
can move on with our agenda.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing my best, Chief.
Anyway, well, it's been, we need a motion to acknowledge and approve the audit findings and management letter.
I'll motion.
I thought we did that.
We've been deferring it for.
Aaron,
Second, Chief.
Curtis,
Chris had said it.
Chris? Is your hand up, Chris Miracle?
He's on mute.
Chris, you're muted.
How's
Chris?
that? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Perhaps we need a plan B. I know Cecil's working diligently, but I'm concerned about potential ramifications on future funding. And it's much bigger than any of us. So maybe in camera, and when can we have that discussion?
On November the 8th, I guess.
I'm sorry?
On November the 8th, at the next council, or what we want to discuss at the next local business.
Do you want
Well, not
anything
today,
from my end? Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Cecil. That was a good report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just put it on a future agenda then.
I think we need to.
Okay, the volleyball courts construction tender award. The contract is to award a contract to build all contractors for $157,885 and approve the
Does it need
project
to?
budget of
I don't know.
$171,758. Does
Sorry,
council?
what's happening?
I don't know.
Wanted
Do
Tom?
we need him in? Do you want Tom to come in, join? Sure. So the recommendation is to award the contract to Build All for $157,885 for a total budget construction and non-construction budget of $171,758.
So it's just to award the contract.
Okay, I'll motion.
Moved by Aaron. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that, Madam Chief.
Chris Brandt. Anybody opposed?
Opposed, Chief.
Chris Miracle opposed.
Did council rescind their motion from about a year ago? A year ago, they were gonna do it in-house last fall.
Well, obviously, the recommendation is to award the contract to get it done. Obviously, it didn't get done by trying to do it in-house, so I guess the decision now is to award it to a contractor.
But the question is, should you rescind the motion then?
Was there a motion made to do
To-
the
to-
volleyball
to
court,
in-house. Can you
in-house?
look it up for last fall?
the volleyball court
The-
in-house?
There was no motion, Chris.
Well, I thought about a month ago we had this discussion and a counselor too said they wanted to go back to that original direction
Okay.
from a year ago.
This is why I say to council numerous times, if you are making a motion to give direction, you can't just have a voice an opinion at the table. You need
Ask
to
a
make a
question.
motion. You need to make a motion. It has to be seconded and voted on. Then that is direction from council. That's how council decisions are made. It isn't by somebody asserting their own opinion. That's
No,
an
it's
opinion
a-
until it takes the form of a motion, then it's a
It was a
council
point of
decision.
order. It was a point of order asking for clarity if there was a motion, because I thought recently the decision was made referencing the direction from a year ago that it was gonna be done in-house.
Shelley has just confirmed, Chris, that there is no motion to do that.
I think
Okay.
the only motion that we agreed to follow from a year ago was to move the court.
Now, I
Okay,
see,
I-
I seen the discussion about the use of the sand there. I mean, that's, can they reuse the sand? That was one of the questions that Tom asked. You want them to reuse the sand that's already there, bought and paid for?
There's another agenda sheet for that work.
Is there, okay. So the decision now is to award the decision, the contract to build all, and it's been moved and seconded, and Chris is opposed. Anyone else opposed?
I have a question, Chief.
Go ahead.
If the discussion now is coming up regarding using the sand that you've already paid
No,
for,
no,
why
no,
was
no,
that?
no, we're not there yet, Chris. We're just still voting on this one motion here. Well, I'm asking council if there's anyone else besides yourself opposed to awarding the contract to Build All. Chris Miracle is negative. Is anyone else negative? Anybody else opposed? Seeing none, then the motion is carried.
I moved.
What's,
Now, the next item is to reuse the sand. Tom is simply waiting for council direction if you would like to reuse that sand, have Build All reuse the sand, and he says here in his email, if TMC is agreeable to reuse the existing sand below the new sand, there is a great deal of saving. The concern could be that over time the sand and the bottom it would eventually make its way upwards and get mixed in with the good sand. This only is an issue if sand provided from an unlicensed source was not specific sand and we are using. Since it is just a recreational volleyball court, this is likely low risk to the quality we need. Let me know if you're agreeable to a change orders for the scope or if you have any concerns. So where did the sand come from?
The existing sand, the invoices for Bruce's Quarry.
Where did it come from?
It's for the invoice, Bruce's Quarry,
The sand came
True
from
quarry.
Bruce's Quarry or the gravel?
both.
All of it did?
Incorrect, Chief.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
then
think
where did
Scott
it come
Brown
from,
was
Chris?
West.
Where,
We
where,
had, I'd have to double check where he got it from, but we specified a specific sand that was approved by a landscape architect, and it came from north. I'd have to find the exact site, but no, it didn't come from his
I
site.
did. I know Scott hauled it.
so did it
I
come
was-
from a
I'm
certified
just saying
service?
the invoices from,
No,
the-
I'm just saying,
perfect. I have no idea. I just go by the invoice.
what he's talking about, yeah, it did come up from out west. Because Scott and his cousin, also with the other truck, was bringing it in. So, they were there for a couple of days. or whatever it was.
So I guess the question then is where did the sand come from? So,
I can find out. I
Can
can,
you
I
find
can
out?
give you the proper name.
okay,
No.
if we are.
Either way, it would present a low rate, like the recreational volleyball courts. I
Yeah,
don't see.
and it was free in Pacific. It was-
Yeah,
So-
so if we're agreeable to this, it is a substantial savings, which drops the quote to 130 from 157.
And
so,
will that sand be screened again? Because when they're extracting the sand at the site that it's at now, I'm pretty sure they're going to get other materials in with it, whether it's weeds or whether it's
It'd be
dirt.
3/4 inch gravel. It'd be 3/4 inch clear gravel you'll get.
So
Beneath the landscape fabric, on top of landscape fabric, you have 3/4 inch gravel, and then on top of the gravel, you have the sand. And Chief, this is, should have been clarified before it went to tender, not after the tender. You don't go to tender, award tenders, and you have change orders automatically.
So it'd be impossible to quantify how much sand we can actually salvage. So it was,
Okay,
rather than trying to guess at it and then potentially over guessing and then it not be a credit and then have council upset that I didn't give them the correct information.
Okay.
We chose to work with the successful
So
contractor.
I guess
to
if the
actually
sand
get the
can't be
price.
used, shouldn't be used in the new volleyball, can it be used for sanding the roads? Sand and salt for our roads?
That'd be a question for your road super.
Do we, you don't want to use the sand then? You
Well,
don't want
I don't know. Again, I don't know. I'm not schooled in this at
To
all. So I have
repurpose
to
what's
rely on
there
someone who
for
knows
the
more
new
about
court?
constructing this than I do.
It'd be, if it, I see no problem with it being used again, but, yeah, it's only gonna be used as a base, but if it's below, let's say, if they're extracting the sand where it is and they're picking up some of that gravel, eventually rocks rise to the surface, no matter what, if it's through ground or if it's gonna be through sand. So, I think a screening purpose, unless they take out 3/4 of the sand and leave a bit so that they're not getting into any kind of other obstacles type
Gravel.
of thing. Gravel, for example.
So, Tommy, is part of their contract to screen, like do like a screening of the material as it's going in?
I would have to ask them.
You'd have to ask.
No, this is all change order. We're discussing a change order, so if it was part of the contract, we wouldn't be having this discussion. It would be part of the contract. Already it's a change order.
We
How would
don't
you
know
have
that.
quantified it ahead of time?
All right, then, so how labor intensive is screening going to be? How much is that going to be cost us to do that?
I think this is just to
opposed
see if we'll be acceptable to use the sand if it's still good.
Yeah.
To use
Yeah,
the
we don't
sand
have
if
to
it's
use it.
possible to use.
So if it's possible, then I guess you're going to have to take out the call of the contractor, because obviously he doesn't want to say this is a bad job and rock is coming up to the top, come back and fix it. And once
Chief, I
you
have a
start,
question. I have a question, Chief.
yes,
So my computer's tied up with this team session. I can't look at the numbers, but a revised budget, does the revised total project budget, does that include the tens of thousands that was spent prior to put it where it is now? Or is that money not included in the new project budget?
Not included.
did you hear
So
that?
we're gonna be over a couple $100K. And when will this be done? Because I promised some people a report, so I can't give them a report until the ball stops bouncing.
As soon as this is approved, Bill Dahl can get it done right away. So we're just waiting for the approvals.
And then the change orders. So I need to know when it's gonna, all said and done, how much is this gonna cost? 200, 225?
Well, we really can't, we can get it, we can get a report from what we've already spent on that for the next council, Sherry.
It's in the briefing.
Is it in here?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is 130,335, if we reuse the sand.
Above it.
The original bid is 157,885.
There should be a bullet that tells what was spent on unlicensed court.
Pre-tender.
So the,
Post-tender.
I think, so quick, is this 157, this is just for the new, this is for the build all contract, right? I think Chris is asking what did we spend for the work that's already been done?
Pre-tender 70,000, 15,000, 4250.
Is that your question, Chris? What was spent on what's already been done?
Yes, that's my question, Chief. If we're talking about a beach volleyball court, at the end of the day, how much was spent over the years and years this thing keeps dragging on?
Okay, to get you a good number, we're going to have to take it back and ask
It's really
Cecil.
20,000 that was
How much?
spent from Bruce's quarry.
Okay, I think what he's asking is overall, how much have we spent so far on what's there? This is what's to be
But
done.
that's been provided to council a bunch of times.
It's in our
Yeah.
past agenda.
Yeah.
I don't know. You want it done this year or not?
Yeah, literally.
The question before council is not the budget. The question is, do you want to reuse the sand?
That's right. Like,
If it's
do we
feasible
want to
to reuse
reuse
Yes,
it?
I say
I'll make the
if
motion.
it's a saving, yes, absolutely.
Ugari, what's your motion?
I'll make the motion to, if the sand can be reused, let's reuse it.
And I will second the motion.
Chris Brandt to reuse sand if it is of satisfactory quality, right?
Yes.
But I think the thing is too, Chief, also is that we don't want to get a whole bunch of change orders to make it like up 300,000, which
If anything,
This change order is a credit.
is going down.
I'm saying like, okay, that'd be a credit. But then I get, oh, this come up. Like,
Okay, the other thing,
That can happen on any project.
we'll build, I'll guarantee the work if we reuse some of that sand.
That's why you have a contingency.
The other thing, Tom, is we'll build, I'll guarantee this work if we reuse that sand.
By signing the change order, it would be.
Well, just ask him, make sure we're good. If he thinks it's a big, in his judgment, that it's a good enough quality to reuse, we still want that project guaranteed for up to a year. So I don't want this to forfeit the guarantee, the warranty. Then we get into the yada yada.
Or don't, and just proceed without the change order.
So ask him that question before, and then if he deems that it's reusable, then use it. If not, then just give you a report.
He's the one that sent the email.
Because obviously the contractor is the one that has to be satisfied that
But
it's doing a
he's
good
the one
job.
he's the one that sent the email.
Bill Dahl was one that sent the email saying, please
Use
see
it.
below for a summary of potential cost savings for the volley tender.
Just use it.
Okay.
Just use it.
So there is a motion, it's moved by O'Barry and seconded by Chris Brandt to reuse the sand if it's a satisfactory quality.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good day, Tom.
Now we need a motion to go in camera.
All motion.
Oh, what I need to know, okay, I need to know how many are coming to the gala. So because we got to notify the caterer.
When is
It's
that
on the
again?
27th there's going to be a little concert at the
that
church from
private?
5 to
What?
4:45. Dinner's
Oh,
at,
is that
there's a
in
happy
the
hour at the community
regular?
center from
Oh.
5:45 to 5:30. Then there's dinner from 5:30 to 6.
Talking
Six.
about a concert until you
6.
get Brenda's approval.
6. Well, but there's other players. Todd's going to play too.
Oh, okay.
And Dale's going to play.
We're live. Sorry, Chief. There's the
Oh, I'm sorry.
nomination for the Limestone
I'm sorry.
District.
Limestone District School Board appointment. Okay, and what's your motion, Aaron? Sorry about
Uh,
that.
Kelly Miracle's resignation
What?
for this board.
Oh, it's not
It's not.
on the agenda sheet.
It's in the bottom of the thingy.
Email?
Yeah.
Kelly
No, in
Miracle's
the
resignation.
drive.
So,
What's it under?
It should be under add-ons at the very bottom.
Okay, is there a motion to accept Kelly Miracle's resignation from the Limestone District School Board?
I will motion.
Aaron, is there a seconder?
I'll second it, Chief.
Ms. Brandt? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. The second motion will be
To appoint Jamie Miracle into the position.
who?
Jamie Miracle.
Jamie Miracle.
Who is Jamie Miracle?
Sandy Miracle's brother?
Yes.
Okay.
Sandy in Education to the Limestone District School Board.
I'll move.
Chris Miracle will
I'll
move.
second.
Will second it.
I'll second.
Aaron? Motion's carried.
was that everything that needs to be?
Yes.
Yes, and there's
Dealt
been,
with?
yeah,
Yep.
and there's already a motion that Chris made to not go ahead with purchasing new docks, to use the existing ones.
Yeah. And has that been dealt with?
There's a motion.
Okay.
So a motion to go in camera,
No motion.
I'll
Second.
second.
Obari and Aaron, or Curtis, it's 4:51.
Can we go
O'Brien
for a
Curtis.
5-minute break?
We can.